Welcome back to On Subrogation, the litigation podcast and video series that helps you recover the damages from the people who caused them. We are live at the National Association of Subrogation Professionals 2018 annual conference in Orlando, Florida. And now I am joined by Dehua Yang, PhD and president of EBATCO, Exponential Business and Technologies Company, and also an ASM International Fellow.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Now, Mr. Yang, you are a chemist by trade, is that correct?
Yes, to be exactly, I'm a physical chemist.
A physical chemist. So when you are looking at a case, you are particularly looking at chemical components of materials that are being sent to you for testing, correct?
Yes, our lab actually is set up to study materials and devices at micro and nano scale through many microscopic and spectroscopic analysis. We can tell you the composition. We can also look at their chemical structures.
Well, I'm so glad to have you because I have just the case for you.
Oh, sounds good.
I have a case right now that involves an insured who was driving down the roadway when he came across some oil that had been spilled on the road. Now, the oil had been spilled by a truck driver who noticed that he was spilling oil and dutifully pulled his truck over and says that he applied a chemical to the surface of the oil spill that is supposed to reduce the slickness of the spill. Now, he discarded that chemical container. Our insured says that he skidded anyway. So if I were to send you samples that were collected from that roadway spill, would you be able to help me with my case?
Yeah, certainly. That's what we are set up for. And we can analyze from the road surface condition, the original sample surfaces for the road, such as asphalt, gravels, and some bonding materials, to the oil, to the chemicals to reduce the slippery. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can do a chemical analysis to identify the ingredients, the composition, their chemical compositions, as well as even to compare to the original chemicals if they have been expired.
So what you're saying is even if my truck driver says, well, I threw away the container, but I'm sure that we used this chemical, you would be able to separate out all those different components, the road components, the gasoline, isolate just that chemical that he says that he added, compare the components that you found in your testing to the components that are supposed to be contained in whatever he says he put on the road surface, and you could tell me if he's telling the truth?
Yes, in general, yes. We're supposed to be able to identify all the ingredients if they are commercially available.
So how do you go about doing that? What kind of technologies do you use in order to conduct this testing?
There are several instruments or analytical techniques that we can use to do the work. And first, of course, we have to physically or chemically isolate each component. Or we can use microscopes or spectrometer, like typically like FTIR, which is Fourier transform infrared microspectrometer, or another one related to energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy, and that will help us to identify mostly the inorganic and also the organic ingredients of those materials.
Well, that's great. And so then you mentioned before that you can even use those processes to determine if the chemical that they used was expired at the time?
Yes, by looking at, what kind of chemical structure and then the ingredients they have, we can compare to the original specifications of that, chemicals. We should be able to see if they are still in the, validity or valid period, or it has expired already.
Wow, that's a great tool to have. Well, I'm so glad that you came on our show today, Dr. Yang.
Yes, Rebecca, and we hope that in the future we can do our part to contribute to this community.
Well, I'm sure that you will. And you said that you also have some educational videos on your website?
Yes, it's available on our website at www.ebatco.com.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining our educational video series, and we really appreciate you being here at the conference. I hope you have a great rest of the conference, and I hope that you will join us again on subrogation.